And we are live.
Cool.
Yeah, the
Um,
volume. There we go.
Going to check our sound.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Speaking. Testing, Baba Boy. Speaking to the mic.
okay, we sound good.
Beautiful. 2/3
Okay, cool.
of a
We're good.
beautiful whole today. Oh,
Cool. Um, Let me get this stuff up really quick, and then
you
we
got
can
it.
start.
Sounds good, my guy. I thought about putting Cyberpunk today, but I'll do that on my own time because I am really invested. How did you run here? Uh, was it? No. Was that? Oh man. Oh, good. It's been a chill, contrary to other weeks where it's more dramatic. It's been a more chill week in gaming,
You still
which
haven't
is
finished Cyberpunk?
no taking my time doing everything on the side.
Mm. Sounds like an excuse to me.
Hey, listen here. I've been playing that, and I've also I don't know if you know, but I reviewed my first game ever for level one. So I've been also working on that. Uh,
What game?
it's called Monorail Stories, an indie game by Steelix Software, um,
Mm.
published by Freedom Games. Really nice experience. Really nice. It's a bite size, about maybe like a 80-minute experience, but it has like multiple endings and everything. Really good time.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll give it, I think, like it was a 8.9, I think, I believe, because it can get repetitive at times. But yeah, my review is up on level one. That's for anyone that is interested. Pretty nice. But aside from that, I mean, Overwatch 2 came out, so it's I play Cyberpunk. But then my boy said, "Hey, let's play some Overwatch," and I said, "Hey, man, it's been years." So I've been doing that all week too. Oh man,
Yeah.
but Cyberpunk is so good, man. I chose female V, so Judy has my heart right now. I tried romancing Pan and it wasn't awkward, honestly. It wasn't.
It wasn't awkward?
It wasn't awkward because the Pan
What?
only rolls towards a male V.
Mm.
Uh, the way that she like kind of like friend zoned me, it wasn't that bad. I respected it. I respected the way that she went about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Collect. How do you glide? Oh, okay, like that. Let's just go anywhere. It's been more movie heavy. How long did it take you to beat Cyberpunk?
um, I'm not sure how long it took for me to beat the main campaign because I did like a bunch of side stuff too, but like
Mm.
I think my total hours is like close to like 200 hours or something.
Oh my goodness. I'm only 20 hours in. If I'm gonna be doing side stuff, I'm gonna be there for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm really loving it. I'm so glad I'm able to actually play it this time and it doesn't crash every 3 minutes. Super happy. Such a good game. But yeah, let me know when you're ready so we can tackle these topics.
Yeah, I'm just adding in all the stuff.
Sounds good. How about you? How's your week been? You been good? You've been feeling yourself? You've been any CrossFit? Have you been back to CrossFit or not? Nah, is that
No,
done?
no, no. Just school mainly.
School, how is that? How's Full Sail treating you?
It's fun. I'm loving it.
Hell yeah. You feel yourself becoming a true gaming dev, or just whatever it is you're doing?
Um, yeah, I'm not in a gaming program, but yeah, I'm definitely learning a lot. Yes. No.
Are the professors bearable? Are they, or are you
Yeah,
just
they're
saying,
all
okay,
yeah,
okay,
they've all
gotcha.
been great.
It's not just the classes that are actually enjoyable.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't have any healing. Great. How did you? I like that. There we go. Damn it. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
Okay, we can get started.
Right.
Um, okay. Guys, welcome to the 78th episode of the DualShock and Sense podcast. I'm your host, Soul, the connoisseur of anime waifus, joined by, we only have two-thirds of the usual suspects at this time. It's going to be like this for next week as well, I believe.
Yep.
But regardless, we got a good show planned for you guys. We have Walt here. What's going on, man?
Hey man. This week I am the cyberpunk. I'm a cyberpunk this week. I am infused to the brim with cyberware. I'm all borged up. I'm feeling like Adam Smasher himself, uh, minus the constant need to murder everyone around me. Feeling pretty good, man. Though. Yeah, we're missing Mr. Macho. What's Macho doing? So you know what he's doing?
Yeah,
Hey,
he's on his honeymoon. That also means that this week, thankfully, we don't have to have Disney Dreamlight gameplay on the during the podcast. So
ugh,
I'm
ugh.
kidding. We love you, man. Um, but yeah, we got a bunch of great topics for you guys this week to get through. But before we do so, I want to remind everyone to go ahead and like the podcast, share it out, and consider subscribing to the channel. We would greatly appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Um, so without further ado, let's talk about the games, the things that we've been doing this past week. Um, for me, it's still been a very heavy Destiny 2 week.
Oh man.
Um, so yeah, not much of an update there. Just been addicted to it, quite honestly. Aside from that, no other games, but I have been obsessed with Mad Men, the TV show,
Oh, never seen it.
which
I know it's like a revolutionary. Like a lot of people talk about it and how it inspires so many shows. Is it worth your while?
I mean, yeah, I've blown through like the first five seasons in like I don't know, like a week or something.
Oh my God. How many
Um,
episodes per season?
13.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
but yeah, it's a fantastic show. It's about these advertisement agencies during the 50s, which is very like I don't know if poignant is the right word, but very relatable to me in this current time of my life because that's literally what I'm in school for. So it's weird how like I didn't know anything about the show like going into it, so it's just weird how that kind of like worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's so interesting because like it's not there's no action in it. There's no shooting or fights or anything like that. Like this show is purely just about relationships, people talking to each other, people sitting in conference rooms and talking to each other. A lot of cheating going on, a lot of sex,
Oh man.
a lot of romance and things like that. But at the core of this show is it's about the characters and their relationships with one another, their complex relationships with one another. And I don't know, man. It's just another one of those things where it's like you don't need big bombastic action or people dying all the time and stuff like that um to draw you to a TV show. Like again, like this show has none of that stuff, and I am like on the edge of my seat with like each and every scene. Like I don't know, it's fantastic. Um, I've had it's I don't know if you've ever watched like The Sopranos.
Through
Um,
clips, exclusively through clips. I haven't seen the show, but people always talk about it whenever I'm online.
yeah, so um, I'm trying to think. So I mean, you've watched Breaking Bad,
100%. And Better Call
so
Saul as
like
well.
Walter White, Tony Soprano. I'm trying to think of other ones. Thomas Shelby from Peaky Blinders.
Hmm.
Um, I would say like Captain Flint from Black Sails. Like these are characters who I guess you would label them as anti-heroes, but to
Saul
me they're
Goodman would
like
also be an anti-hero.
I've never seen that show, so
Imagine
I don't know.
the most
I
corrupt
don't know if
lawyer.
he's like I don't know if he's like the Tony Soprano type is what I'm trying to say. Like I don't know if
Gotcha.
anti-hero is like the right word, but like these are characters who like you I hate their guts in certain episodes. There's very rare moments where I'm actually
Right.
rooting for them, but then there's occasional cracks in the armor where you can actually see something of a decent human being in there, right?
Hmm.
And the main character in this show, Don Draper, is like exactly that. Like he's a womanizer. He constantly cheats on his wife, just like Tony Soprano did. Um, and he's the one who comes home acting like he's the victim or whatever. He constantly lies to his wife as well, his wife and his children. He's always like he's never home because he's like obsessed with his work. But at the same time, he's always spending the night at other people's houses, you know, with other women and things like that. Anyway, he's a deplorable human being. Sometimes the way that he treats the people that he works with and stuff like that. But at the same time, like he's also aware of like who he is and like the facade that he puts on, the double life that he has, the lies that he's always telling, and the fact that he's a horrible husband and a horrible father and things like that, which makes him, I don't know, like all that stuff makes him so interesting, despite the fact that he's a horrible human being. And I don't know, I'm really drawn to characters like that, even though like I should hate them, I'm still drawn to them because they're so charismatic and I don't know and complex and I really love characters like that. Like I'm like Thomas Shelby is a perfect example of just like I really find it hard to relate to him just because of how he is, right?
Hmm.
Especially with how he treats his brothers sometimes, right?
Right.
Um, but at the same time, you can't help but feel compelled to like, you know, keep watching what he's doing, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, I feel the same way about Don Draper. He's just like one of those like legendary sort of characters in TV. Um,
Oh, Draper.
and
It reminds me a lot of the same vibes that Wolf of Wall Street had. Only that it's more of the fall of this once innocent man just become the most horrible human being in the whole movie. Uh, but similar to, I know you haven't seen it, but similar to Saul Goodman, he's a lawyer, but he's a criminal lawyer. Not a lawyer for criminals, but he himself is a criminal. And
yeah,
he will,
I've seen
you
Breaking
know,
Bad.
no, but like in his show, he will stoop down to like, fucking over this one family because the cartel is going to promise him a lot of money. So he'll instead, make this one mother suffer that lost their son in exchange for like $7 million or whatever from the cartel. So it's like
Gotcha.
he won't stop at nothing if it means that it's the adrenaline, and he loves it. He loves being Saul Goodman. He loves being charismatic and being able to get away with it. And that's something I've only seen one episode of Peaky Blinders, but already they kind of established pretty well how Thomas Shelby functions as a human being amongst his peers and other people, and just how ruthless he can be. Uh,
Yeah.
and say what I would say that is that you know very different from everyone else. Walter White, I don't think he's charismatic. He uses fear as a weapon. Where Don, what's his name? Don Draper, John Draper.
Yeah.
Uh, that man sounds like a gigolo. That man is a playboy. Is that the who plays him? Is that John Hamm?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, phenomenal. Yeah, I need to. I want to watch that show because of John Hamm, because I just love him and everything. And whenever he plays charismatic characters, which is what he mostly does, he does a great job. So, how long is the show? You're 5 seasons in. Are you almost done?
There's no, there's seven, so I still have
Okay.
like, yeah, a few more.
Where are you watching
Um,
it? Are you streaming it somewhere?
yeah, on Amazon.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, but yeah, and I've had like several moments in that show
Hmm.
where there's one moment if you do end up watching it. There's one moment early on. I think the episode may be called the wheel or the carousel,
Okay.
um, but that's just like one of like the best like I don't know like TV moments like I've ever seen,
Hmm.
um, and I don't know. There's multiple episodes in this show where I'm just like you know when you can't like quite put your finger on it, but you're just watching something like transcendent or just special.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I've had multiple moments like that with this show, and yeah, it's a fantastic show. I can't recommend it enough. It might be I don't know, because like I said earlier, there's no action, there's no shooting, or it's not like Sopranos in that sense where it's revolving around the mafia.
Hmm.
Um, so when I say that this show is purely about relationships and not purely like romantic ones, but like just Don and his bosses or Don with his employees, just people talk like the show is purely about people talking to each other and things like that.
Yeah. It's a
So
pure drama.
if that doesn't sound interesting to you, then maybe I wouldn't recommend it. Like, don't go into this expecting tons of violence and shooting and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But if you can sit through literally just people talking to each other, then I think you'll love it. But yeah,
Okay.
that's been it for me. What about
Good
you?
stuff. This week, as I mentioned earlier, I've been playing some Cyberpunk. I'm really, man, I feel like I don't know if I'm going too slow or not, but I'm just taking in. Like, I will walk through Night City and I'll just listen, and I'll listen to people talk, and I'll just walk to my objective, even if it's like 500 meters away. I'm enjoying it so much. I'm reminiscing of my time watching Edge Runners and imagining those characters with me, and what would they be doing now? And oh man, it's so sad, but it's so much fun. Have you seen Edge Runners yet?
No.
Oh man, this guy's a Cyberpunk fan. 200 hours in the game, hasn't watched Edge Runners. Golly.
Yeah, I've been
Uh,
busy, man.
hey man, with Madman. uh,
Yes, sir.
this week, so I don't know if you heard, but Avatar re-released on theaters. Uh,
Yeah.
the Blue People one, and it's been
Oh yeah.
remastered, so it looks prettier. I watched that twice last weekend.
God
Not
damn.
alone, one with one group of friends and the other one with another group of friends, and both times were incredible. I first watched it in 3D IMAX, which surprisingly looked f- beautiful. It looked gorgeous. It's one of the best movies that I've seen, like visually. That's one of the best ways to experience it. And then the second time, I went to the Dolby Cinema, the first time in a Dolby Cinema theater, and oh my god, man, the explosions, the flying, everything just sounds, it makes your body shake and oh my god, everything's vibrating. I feel like I'm
Whoa.
vibrating. Oh whoa, it's a
Jesus.
it's a vibrating extravaganza. It reminded me how much I love that movie. Have you ever seen Avatar?
But yeah, back in like 2009.
Yeah, when it first came out. Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, from what I
Yeah.
remember.
Man, this reminded me just how much I actually adore this movie and getting ready for the Way of Water that's coming out in December. I got my tickets for Wakanda Forever as well. I'm ready for that. Um, this week I've also just been playing some Overwatch 2. I was able to get in after a whole night of not being able to get in and it kicking me out and needing I needed like a phone verification. You needed to access your phone and do some verifying through
Oh man.
Yeah, no,
I heard about that prepaid phone thing. You can't get in if you have a prepaid phone.
listen, man, they
That was
gatekeeping.
wild.
They
They
gatekeeping
said if
over
you're
here.
poor, they said if you're poor, you can't get in, you can't play Overwatch.
They said this is free, but not that free.
Yeah, goddamn.
uh, I was able to get in because I mean, I don't have a prepaid phone. But the the battle pass, it is what it is. I do appreciate that battle pass more than I do loot boxes. Um, there are still ways of buying like the coins, the gold coins for you to buy certain things from skins, but it doesn't improve gameplay by any means. Um, it's 5v5 now. They've buffed and debuffed a lot of characters. They reworked a lot of characters. I was able to get my hands on the new character Kiriko because if you had Overwatch 1, you automatically get her. But other than that, she's behind a paywall that you have to buy the battle pass in order to get her. Uh,
Yeah,
this is the first time that Overwatch has a character that's behind a paywall. They've always
that
been free.
sucks.
It really sucks, and I guess their way of compensating for it is by banning her unranked. Uh, I guess so, because it's an unfair advantage. I guess she's really good. She's if you know how to play her, and this is not the same with every character, because some characters, even though you know how to play them, they have a hard counter. She is really difficult to learn, but once you learn her, she is incredible. So I can understand why they ban her as well. Um, Aside from that, yeah, Cyberpunk. I played Monorail Stories on my Steam Deck, and I reviewed it for Level One Gaming, so you guys can check that out. Um, what else have I been playing? Not much else. I mean, I watched the movies. I want to watch more movies. I'm in a movie phase. There's a lot of classics I haven't seen. I've been thinking about picking up Blade Runner, the first one. I think it's on HBO Max. I've never seen that movie, but I'm
Yeah,
in the
me neither.
sci-fi, and I hear it's like one of the all-time greats after
Yeah.
years of it being out there. Because I think when it came out, it bombed. It got really bad reviews. Um, I want to watch that and then immediately go to 2049 with Ryan Gosling. I'm in the sci-fi mood, man. Avatar and Cyberpunk has me in the sci-fi mood. Um, but yeah, man, that's been pretty much it this week. I'm just waiting for more games to come out. I got my Callisto Protocol Collector's Edition pre-ordered uh, with the statue and everything. I'm waiting highly for that, highly anticipating it. And I was tempted. So I don't know if you've seen the Dead Space Collector's Edition. I was tempted at getting my hands on that, but it's almost $300, and I don't know if I have to scratch right now, man. It's tough,
Yeah,
man.
I wanted to get the God of War one, but again, my thing is that that thing comes with like uh two things actually. The digital version of the game instead
Hmm.
of an actual physical copy, and the steelbook. I don't really like how the steelbook looks.
Damn.
So, yeah, I'm not gonna get it.
Yeah, I was wondering with the Dead Space Collectors, uh, because that will probably be shipping like in a year from now. Uh, People were asking, wait, the game comes out in January, like, what will we do? And they're like, oh no, you'll get the game first. So they'll ship the game first, and then they'll send the entire collector's edition later on, which is cool. So I might do it. I don't know. I'm gonna see if they have a payment plan, because it's a lot of money or to go at once. But yeah, man, that's been me this week.
Nice. You got to make sure that the ones that you do pre-order or whatever have a physical version of the game in there, not the digital fucking paper disc that they
Ugh, you gotta put the little code in there in the steelbook, and it's like ugh.
I'll never forget for the Fallout 76 one, someone on YouTube ordered the like, big collector's edition or whatever, and
Right.
they opened up the goddamn steelbook and there was a fucking paper disc in there with the code of the
Uh,
game in there.
that's
He's
like
like, "What the fuck?"
that's like when I would get customers like, how much is Fortnite? Because they would see the box, and I'm like, this is a free game. This is deals. This is extra stuff. The game is free online. And they're like, really? And they would look at their kit. It's free? Why didn't you tell me it was free? And the kid would be like, I don't know. I wanted that one. It's like, you want a box with Fortnite? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
man.
All right. So yeah, I mean that about covers it for the games and the movies and TVs that shows that we've been watching this past week. Let's move on to the podcast proper and get into some of these topics.
Yes, sir.
Um, So Walt, let me tell you, so obviously I don't tune in for things like Summer Game Fest or the Xbox TGS showcase that they did a few weeks back or whatever, or I don't tune in for the EA plays or the Ubisoft forwards or heaven
You're
forbid
not
the Sonic
involved.
Central, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I didn't even tune in for the Nintendo big 40-minute direct that happened a while back as well.
Oh man.
However,
Oh
I
man.
will tune in for the goddamn Mario movie.
Oh man.
So, how about you? You you
you were
you
you were
rolling up to the movie theater to watch that in your tuxedo, or
Listen,
what?
man, I'm gonna put that tuxedo, I'm gonna put those clean Vapor Maxes. I ain't gonna put no black shoes. Those Vapor Maxes and that tuxedo and a nice clean fade. And I'm gonna sit down, get my popcorn, get my snacks, kick my feet up, and watch me a Chris Pratt Mario, boy. I'm gonna watch me
You gonna wear shades in the theater too?
listen, man, put those aviators on. We're gonna put those
Uh,
aviators.
But yeah, man. So Nintendo had a Super Mario Bros. Movie direct this
Hmm.
past week, and
Shortest direct ever.
quick thoughts, man. Like, obviously the big conversation we'll get to that, but
We'll get to that, yeah.
visually this movie looks stunning, man.
It looks. Here's the thing. I went in thinking I am 100% confident that the movie will look good because Illumination they make good looking movies. Whether they're good or not in terms of quality writing, they're for kids. Uh, they're great looking movies. I myself am a Minions enjoyer. I enjoy those movies. Okay. Uh, this movie
You were one
looks.
of those. You were one of those motherfuckers showing
Oh,
up with a suit and
uh,
tie.
uh, oh, sir, I was the usher. Sir, this way, please. Minions is waiting for
Gotcha,
you. Um,
gotcha.
Listen, man, this movie looks breathtaking. Honestly, not only in terms of quality of models and the characters themselves, but the lighting, the effects, the fire breath, the the Ice Kingdom from afar while Bowser is moving with his castle and the lava drop. Everything looks incredible, and the characters actually look so, animated in the sense that they look full of personality, and that's huge because even Namek. The Koopas looked really like unique. Everyone looked like their part, like what you would expect from these Mario characters from in the actual game. I'm looking super forward to watching this movie in the big screen because it's gonna go. If there's an IMAX version, let me tell you, man, I'm gonna watch that IMAX version because it's a beautiful movie.
Yeah, so I mean, aside from that, from the
Mm-hmm.
visuals, I think Jack Black as Bowser works, surprisingly. I was not expecting that. And
100%.
then the Penguin as well. I don't know who's playing him, but I thought the Penguin sounded really good as well.
Yeah, the Game
The
of Thrones
one,
penguin. Okay.
right. The do you yield one. The one voice I was not expecting to work as well as it did, but was absolutely my favorite one
Hmm.
was Keegan Michael Key, right? That's his
Yes, sir.
voice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as Toad, dude. He killed it. And just like he had like what, like one line or two lines or whatever.
Two lines.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, yep, that is exactly how like Toad sounds in my mind. So yeah, that
It,
was he did incredible.
he did incredible, and the thing with Toad is that unlike a lot of the characters that don't have like an actual voice and they just have like a sound that they make, Toad has that raspy, like very just
Yeah.
borderline annoying scream. And I think he made it. I thought it was gonna sound like really deep. Not that he has a deep voice per se, but I thought it was gonna not sound right. But he opened his mouth and I was like, bro, wait a minute. He put in the raspiness, but then he made it work when he actually said words. Like he actually sounds like what I imagine Toad would sound in a movie. And
Yeah.
and the character work which we'll get to the conversation with the thing. But Bowser and Toad and Penguin, all characters have character work. They sound like the actor is actually putting on a voice for this character.
Yeah. And for Keegan Michael Key, like I didn't know. I guess like admittedly I'm not too familiar with like his work aside from
Key and
Key
Peele.
and Peele.
Hmm.
So I didn't know that he like his voice range could get there to that place.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's why it surprised me that much. Um, what didn't surprise me
Mm.
was Chris Pratt using his normal ass voice.
Oh man.
Alright, this is especially funny because if you remember, there was a quote, maybe a few months back or whatever, where he said, "The voice for that he uses in the Mario movie is unlike anything we have ever seen from him yet."
My
Come to
man
find out, come to
sounds like
find
Andy
out,
Dwyer.
come to find out, it's just this man's regular ass voice, and the internet it despises it. I mean,
With a slight, I think some people pointed out that he has a slight like Brooklyn accent in there. Like there's something going on. I don't. There's something that people say. I struggle to hear it. Maybe when he when he says "Here we come," when he says that, it's like I can kind of hear it. It still just sounds like Chris Pratt was told to make a voice. you know, because with
or not enough of a voice because like
yeah.
like I don't know, like I wasn't expecting to be like, Where's the freaking gabagoo?" You know, I wasn't expecting that, but at the same time, like I don't know, man. Yeah,
Let
I
me
love
get the
that
bop.
video. Hey,
um,
I'm walking here.
I'm walking here. You
But
motherfucker.
I love that video.
I love it
That
so
little
much.
no, he looks like that fucking bling bling boy from Johnny Test. Do you remember him?
Yes, yes.
Or Kaneshiro from Persona 5.
Bro. Yes, Kaneshiro. That's the perfect one. And then he does
Yeah.
the little torque at the
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, like I don't know because I feel like Mario is. I mean, what do you think? Because I'm on the fence. Like, is he? Do you think he's the hardest? Like before this trailer came out, do you think, or before we even knew that Chris Pratt was gonna voice him, do you think
Mhm.
Mario would have been the toughest voice to nail or the easiest voice to nail? Because I'm not sure like what I was expecting him to sound like.
Mhm.
But then again, I guess you just could have gotten Charles whatever to voice Mario. I don't know.
Charles Martinet, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. With these things, I don't know if it's so much that Chris was super set on making this voice, because also there's a voice director. I wonder if the voice director just said, "Hey, this," or if Miyamoto was like, "I just want Chris Sans to have his normal voice." You know, what was the conversation like? Like, why? Because you would think, Miyamoto, this is his baby. This is something that, Charles Martinet has been the face of Mario, arguably, for the last 20 years or so, 20, 30 years. Uh, I don't know, man, because the thing here is character work. It just sounds like Chris Pratt. I wonder if there was more animation to the voice. If there was more, of a character in it. There was more of Mario in it. Uh, to your point of Charles Martinet, listen, I don't know if you've seen the French trailer for it.
Yeah, I do.
But Mario sounds like Mario there. Mario sounds like
Yeah.
video game Mario. And I don't know if it's also, listen, I'm not a linguist. I don't know if maybe English is just a tough language to make it sound, all weird and quirky like a Mario. Because to be fair, some people argue, oh, it's going to be 2 hours of annoying voice, or it's going to be 2 hours of the charming voice, or it's going to be, what people don't know what they want until they get it. Sometimes it's not what you want, it's what you deserve. And I don't know if I hope this is just the trailer that's, putting it low expectations, and then we tune in for the movie, and it's, Chris Pratt doing his best role ever.
If that is truly the case, then they've made a really poor first impression.
Horrible,
Um,
horrible.
I think you should again, if that is the case, then you
Hmm.
should showcase that in the first trailer. This is the big reveal trailer of this movie. This is
It
the
is.
first time that us, the general audience, are seeing this. So you want to put your best foot forward, and it's like 90% of this trailer, fantastic.
Hmm.
All the other voices, fantastic. But if you want to prove to people that that Chris Pratt is the absolute best choice for this, then you put your best foot forward with that. And I don't think they did.
I wonder if Chris Pratt being in this was because we also got that little talk from him. You know, ever since he was a little boy, it's his long, life dream to be Mario, and he was half asleep apparently, and it looked like someone had woken him up from his
Did
4 a.m. nap.
did you see so, someone said that the way he said Koopas because he was like I've been stomping on Koopas all my life or something like that.
Because he did this.
But he,
He did this. I've been stomping on Koopas all my life, and I'm like, whoa, did he forget for a moment? But
No,
man,
so someone said, why did he say Koopa's like it was a slur or something like that? Like, 'cause he was like I've been stomping on Koopa's.
we got the K right there, boy.
Yeah, man,
The
the
hard
hard
K.
K. Yeah, yeah.
um,
So
yeah, I think it's just him being a boomer, just like forgetting shit. I don't know. Uh, Listen, man, I am. I wasn't disappointed with the trailer. I have very low expectations for the Mario voice, and it didn't really bother me. I didn't really expect him to sound like Charles Martinet or anything groundbreaking. Uh, I don't dislike Chris Pratt's voice. I think he has a very, like kid-friendly voice. Andy Dwyer and in Parks and Rec. For me, he was a very
Lego
like
Batman.
in Lego Batman. It's not like he doesn't have a voice meant for animation.
Or
Not that
wait,
it's
just
like,
Lego Movie, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't know, man. I know it's the expectation, Charles Martinet and a movie. Maybe this is just what Mario's meant to sound like in a movie. Uh, I don't know if people just want to, hey, someone want something like this,
Yeah.
For me, it's the personality. Give Mario some personality. Even if you sound like yourself, make it. You can influx and you can uh, make all sorts of vocal words, whatever, or you call it. But yeah, man, I'm not. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna probably be there day one. I'm really looking forward to it. Maybe not day one because day one there's gonna be a lot of children and that's gonna be very annoying. Uh, I want to watch this with some friends to get their reaction and see how they feel about the movie. Because honestly, I'm just looking forward to listen. My big thing now is listening to Donkey Kong. That's the big one. Because that's Seth Rogen. What the hell is that
Yeah.
gonna sound? My man starts laughing. Like, my guy's
I
gonna sound like Blackbeard from One Piece. My guy.
I think he could do that. The laugh
Absolutely.
at least.
Absolutely, and I want to listen to that already. And Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach. Like, there's some actual good choices in terms of voice casting. It's just that we're used to the wahoo from Mario, and Pratt doesn't necessarily do that. But hey,
Yeah.
I'm I came out of that direct satisfied and looking forward to the movie because if not for the voices, hey, I'm gonna listen to Jack Black as Bowser, and that's already a perfect combination as
Absolutely.
we were made aware
I
of.
think that's the important thing to note that like yeah we're complaining about Chris Pratt but like literally 90% of this trailer is gold. Like that is the only like sticking point.
Hmm.
And sure, some people would argue that that's a very major sticking point that the main character doesn't sound right, and like sure, but I don't know. I think this movie still has a ton working for it, or a ton um, that's working for it and not against it. So,
Absolutely,
um,
and we got a little
yeah,
glimpse at Luigi at the end, uh, which I don't have anyone in mind that he's played, but it's gonna be Charlie Day. Is his name?
yeah, yeah.
What's he done? Do you know what's the only thing he's done?
He's in Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, the main. Okay, 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 okay. So I think he can pull it off. He has a very like animated voice. But yeah, man, listen. I feared that this trailer was gonna be bad, and it wasn't. And like you said, 90% of it was fantastic. And I would just watch a movie of Bowser. Just I would watch a Bowser movie, to be honest, because
I love
that was great.
I love how before the trailer came out, uh, people were like counting down to it, or like 2 hours until the world changes forever, or like stuff like that. Like it was some apocalyptic event or something.
Straight up though,
Yeah,
imagine it's the face. I would argue it's the face of video games, and
yeah, yeah.
he's
Well,
he's gonna be
him and goddamn Minecraft Steve.
legit, legit.
I hate that, man. You don't know how much I hate that. That Minecraft Steve is a pillar of gaming, man. What the hell?
Listen, man, I would argue it's not Steve himself, but Minecraft. I look at it to cope with it. There's a lot of copium in me. Uh,
Yeah,
that's why he's in Smash, fighting with Mario.
exactly.
But yeah,
Um,
man, I don't know. Would you think that a full movie with Charles Martinet voice would be annoying or not?
uh, I don't think so, cause like, I mean, that's Mario's voice, so
Hmm. So
so
I might watch I want to watch the French one, like no cap. I do want to watch the French movie and listen to him with the actual Mario sounding voice. That
yeah,
seems fun. But yeah, man.
yeah. All right. So that is the Mario movie.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
yeah. Let us move on to our CD Projekt Red.
Woo!
They uh announced a bunch of stuff. So I guess I'll open. Or actually,
Hmm.
let's start with the facts and like what they announced first, and then I'll ask you this question afterwards.
You got it.
So in a very, I guess, like Marvel-esque way, I don't think we've really seen much of this in gaming, aside from, well, maybe we're starting to see game developers do this a little bit more, but like I think the other big example is like look at what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed. Like they just announced their outline for that franchise for like the next, I'd probably say like decade,
Hmm.
maybe a little bit less, but like for the foreseeable future. Like we know what Project Red, Hexe, that Jade mobile game,
Hmm.
and then Mirage, right? So and then obviously Infinity. They also announced like a multiplayer game as well, right?
Yep.
So in a very similar fashion, Project Red did a similar thing. So let's start with The Witcher.
Hmm.
Or actually, so I mean, I guess the things that are imminent are the Cyberpunk 2077 expansion Phantom Liberty that's coming out next year,
Yep.
and The Witcher 3 current gen update or version that's coming out later this year. So that's imminent. That's coming out like
Right.
soonish. After that, the next three games in the development pipeline belong to the Witcher franchise. Two of those three games are in pre-production. The first one is codenamed Sirius, which is a single and multiplayer game made by a newly created studio. Um, oh wait, no! I don't think they're newly created. See, this is where it gets confusing because there's a
Hmm.
lot of moving parts in this. There's a lot of teams that aren't just CD Projekt Red that's working on these games. So this single player and multiplayer Witcher game, codenamed Sirius, is made by a Boston studio called the Molasses Flood. A team that made Drake Hollow. I don't know if you've ever heard of that game.
I don't think so.
I don't think it did too well, but yeah. So that game is being made by the Molasses Flood, which
Great
CDPR
name.
acquired. Yeah, great name. CDPR acquired this studio last year. Um, so yeah, there's that. A
Hmm.
single player multiplayer Witcher game sounds interesting, I guess.
On
I don't know.
paper.
There, on paper, exactly. We'll see. Maybe it's something more on the along the lines of like a Thronebreaker, or I don't know. Maybe it is a fully fledged AAA RPG. Who knows? They didn't
Yeah,
say
yeah.
much of anything about it.
It'd be cool if they made a whole a whole co-op game where the other character is always there as an AI, but you can take a hold of him as co-op. Maybe I don't know. That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that is Project Sirius. Next, the other game that's in pre-production is called Polaris. This is the first game in a new Witcher saga, more specifically a new Witcher trilogy. And this is actually being developed by the core CDPR team.
Mm.
Um, so that's very important. Next, we have Canis Majoris, which is a full-fledged Witcher game, but it's separate from the new trilogy, and it's made by a external studio. So it's not being made by the Molasses Flood, and it's not being made by CDPR. Um, so let's talk about that first. This whole Witcher chunk first. So in total, we have the single player and multiplayer game being made by the Molasses Flood in Boston. And then we have a whole new Witcher trilogy being made by the core CDPR team. And
Mm.
then separate from this trilogy, so this game is kind of like a when I'm envisioning it to be like a Gotham Knights situation where Gotham Knights is not connected to the Arkham trilogy at all.
Hmm.
This new separate game is being made by an outside third party team that we don't know about yet. Um, so that's gonna be very interesting. Like, what if it's being made by like Team Ninja or some shit like that?
Bro, plays like Neo.
um, yeah, right. I'd be down for that. But yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
it's being made by an external studio, not CDPR and not the Molasses Flood. So that's gonna be interesting to see like who is making this game. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, all of that being said, what do you think about the future of The Witcher? How is it looking to you? And out of everything that I just detailed for you, which one sounds the most interesting to you?
Honestly, because I am very much I love experiencing the world of The Witcher and going to different towns and meeting different people. So the idea of a co-op game really intrigued me. Uh, Mainly because Witcher is very much a story-driven game. Unless they go the Gotham Knights route where it's just missions based and it's not open world and that sounds not too entertaining or interesting. That's the one that piques my interest the most, honestly. First of all, the Witcher future looking pretty abundant. There's a lot going on, not only with the games, but you also have the show that's doing really well, season 3 and everything,
Yeah.
coming around the corner. Uh, Man, the listen, I just hope that the quality remains there because with Witcher 3, a lot of people might not be a fan of it or might think it's generic or whatever. But I don't think that the quality was ever in the gameplay and whatnot. It's in the story, and as long as that doesn't sacrifice in order to be a co-op game, uh, I'm all in for it. I'm not expecting the same level of depth, as like a No Man's Land or Skellige and whatnot, or even expect cameos from old characters. Uh, that's my big thing. World building and story, as long as that doesn't sacrifice, my main one to look forward to is the co-op one. Can you imagine that? Just side by side Witchers. Oh man, that'd be nice. Attack like make a little event situation where instead of the usual dungeon where you have to investigate and get to the monsters like a little raid when you have to go beneath the earth and attack this one big monster as a duo. I mean, assuming it's co-op. They say multiplayer, it could be up to 4 players or 3. I don't know what they have in mind. I hope it's only 2 players. That sounds
I mean,
more
I mean, I think,
plausible.
I think The Witcher lends itself, and obviously they didn't say that this
Hmm.
is the direction that they're moving in, but I think The Witcher lends itself to if they want to do multiple spin-offs and take it into a multiplayer direction. Like I think it lends itself to a Monster Hunter style game really well. I
Ooh.
mean, literally, The Witchers before battles they prepare themselves with potions and oils and things like that. Like they literally prepare themselves before they jump into a fight with a monster. So just
And
doing that with friends, I think is it makes sense for that world.
we've gotten a taste of that, somewhat, because in Monster Hunter World, you can there's a DLC for Geralt, uh, and
Oh yeah.
you can have Geralt in it, and and you hunt a Leshen, uh, and it very much is. It's made to be a monster, to be a monster hunter, because it's so intricate, it's so difficult to find, it's so specific that you have to prepare a certain way, and then make
And
it where
you know what's funny about that is Horizon also did that too. Is also a
yeah,
Monster Hunter world, and the big rumor about that is we'll talk about it.
we'll
But yeah,
talk
it's
about
funny how
that.
you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's interesting how you look at, and then you have Ryu in there for some reason, but because Capcom. But it's interesting how in Monster Hunter, you, they do showcase, because you also can have Aloy in the PlayStation exclusive, or rather you can have her bow. You don't have Aloy in it, uh, but in Horizon you do have, you can get gear that's centered around parts of a machine. You don't necessarily construct it from pieces of a machine. Like, you go and you have to take out this specific plate, and then that'll be the one ingredient for this one armor piece. I feel like with Witcher, let's say you hunt a griffin or griffon, and you get an armor that it's feathered and it's more akin to like a winged creature. That'd be really cool if you can have armor sets that are based on the creatures that you defeat. That'd be really, really cool. Imagine Legend armor. Oh my god. Now,
Yeah,
now I want this fake game that we're coming up with. I hope this is what they
yeah,
do.
man. Yeah, it sounds really cool. Um,
Yeah. What are
I'm
you looking
I'm
forward the most?
I'm obviously excited for the new trilogy.
Mm.
You know, I don't think that they will, but at the same time, I'm really crossing my fingers that they won't, because you never know with these companies. It's really hard for them to leave behind an established character. But Geralt's story is done. They wrapped it
Yeah.
up beautifully in Blood and Wine. Please do not go back to the well. I really hope they fight the urge to do so. But I trust is a strong word, but I think they're smart enough to not go back to him. So
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, purely based off of that, I'm excited I'm excited for the new trilogy because it's not gonna have the baggage of the books,
Hmm.
all that source material. They can it feels like even though this is an established IP, it feels like they can finally kind of like stretch their legs creatively and do their own thing with this, right? They can introduce a brand new main character. Maybe they'll go back to the well and have Ciri as the lead, but I
Yeah.
mean, I think the idea of them just creating a brand new Witcher from a brand new school and having that character be the protagonist, I think is really exciting.
Yeah.
In an era that's past Geralt's time, I think is cool. What does the Witcher world look like? Um, this is so ridiculous. They're not gonna do this, but like in I don't know, like a steampunk version of the Witcher world, or like
Ooh.
I don't know, like Renaissance era Witcher world, right? Like I don't know, like if they were to take this a few hundred years after the events of The Witcher 3, like what would that look like? Um, with the brand new cast of characters. I think that would be really interesting.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to for sure. The
That's
new
the same
trilogy
feeling.
specifically.
That's the same feeling that you mentioned. What does that look? In another era. That's the same energy that back when Assassin's Creed was still, in the stealth days, people would go, "Man, what would a Assassin's Creed in the now look like? Modern times and the skyscrapers and."
See, I thought you were gonna say Korra, the jump from
Oh,
Avatar to Korra.
that was a natural progression, and it didn't feel jarring. It felt natural, and that's a big thing with Witcher. Also, not necessarily make it where it's a continuation. If it's a new trilogy, make it its own thing where there's the established schools. But if you're gonna make it where you're gonna touch on previous Witchers and previous mythos and previous schools, make it where it feels organic enough. New schools formed or whatever. I don't know what the lore behind the formation of a school is, but if they can do that, by all means, do it. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Because Avatar, I would say that the way that they incorporated technology in Korra, similar to what they would do in Witcher. was with the natural progression of what they had already. So they centered technology around the elements. In Witcher, they would, I assume, center the technology around magic or around, monsters and have fortified cities or something. Kind of like an Attack on Titan type deal where, they form the walls because of the Titans. So maybe their technology is super different from ours, but it's because they have to handle their own circumstance. So that'd be really cool to explore. That'd be a,
I mean,
a
that's
meeting I'd like to attend for the writers.
I mean, that's another thing. I don't think that they will do this because this just seems like a ton of work when you already have an established world. But like,
Hmm.
who's to say that they wouldn't, because the main where the Witcher books and the TV and the games take place is in a place literally just called the continent. That's like where
Hmm.
all the major, countries that these
Pangea.
games and where all these games and the books, take place. So
Hmm.
like, what if we left the continent altogether and went to, some other land, right? I mean, the entire Witcher world is not just that continent. There's more land out there. There's more cultures that the books have never explored before, et cetera, et cetera. So like, I don't think that they will do that because again, it would be like they're literally going to make a brand new country and they have to populate that country with all these different or sorry, a brand new continent, and they would have to populate it with different countries and cultures and people and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Again, that seems like so much work when you already have a foundation of the continent that you have used in all three of your games and all the books and the TV show as well. So why wouldn't you just go back to that and
absolutely.
maybe explore a country that we haven't really explored too much, right? Um,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That could be something that they do. Um, like what if I know we explored Skellige a ton in Witcher 3, but like what if we had a Witcher that was born in Skellige, or if there
Like
there
a
was
sailor.
a or there's like a secret Witcher school buried in Skellige or something like that. I don't know.
Oh man, go D&D on it. Make an Underdark and make a whole subterranean civilization where there's a Witcher
Yeah,
that's never been out in the sun, so he's
yeah.
developed the different capabilities. I
Like I
mean,
said, man, there's so many possibilities. Like I feel like, because again, they had the baggage of the books because they're dealing with Geralt, so there were
mhm,
certain things where it felt like I don't want to say that they were pigeonholed or anything like that, because obviously they still made those games their own and they're fantastic. But now it
mhm.
feels like the reins are off. That they can truly do something wild and different, and purely based off of that, I think is really exciting. Um,
Absolutely, man.
so yeah, that is the Witcher stuff. Next, let's see.
Good
This is
old.
probably what you will be more interested in. So, um, okay, so actually, one last thing about the Witcher stuff is that,
Yeah.
and I saw people were kind of confused about this. So after the first Witcher game, I think called Polaris, which is the first game in their new trilogy.
Right.
They said that they expect the rest of the games to be released within a 6 year time period.
Hmm.
People took that to mean that they're releasing a trilogy in 6 years, or how do I say this? That all three of those games are going to be out within a 6 year period, and that's not what they meant at all. They said after the first game, 3 years will follow in between the subsequent two games. So for example, let's say Polaris comes out in 2023, the next game will come out in 2026, and then the final game will come out in 2029. Again, that's what they're saying they hope to do. Whether
Hmm.
they actually do it, we will see. But that's what they're saying that they want to do for this trilogy.
Okay.
So aside from that, we'll move on to the Cyberpunk universe.
Ooh.
So, first things first, Orion,
Hmm.
which is the next game in the Cyberpunk universe, will be made by this is the interesting thing to me. This Orion project will be made by a brand new CDPR studio in Boston. So this is separate from Molasses Flood, but this is core members from CDPR in Poland moving to Boston to create this brand new CDPR team in the US. And this is where the Cyberpunk sequel is going to be created. Um, so yeah, that is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's the Cyberpunk sequel, which I don't know about you, but maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I was a little bit surprised that there's going to be a Cyberpunk sequel. How do you feel
Really?
about that? Yeah.
Uh, I I for one I wasn't surprised. What I'm surprised is that it feels well with the way that the whole cyberpunk situation went about. I wouldn't if it didn't go the way it did. I would say it's a bit soon for it, but I don't know how long in the future this is going to come out.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. This ain't coming out anytime soon. Like this this CD Project Red in Boston doesn't exist yet. Like, yeah.
what I am, what I do think is really smart from them is that this is the perfect time to announce that because everyone is hyped for Cyberpunk now. Everyone's loving Cyberpunk. Everyone came off the heels of Edge Runners wanting some more. And I bet a lot of people are already beating Cyberpunk asking for more. So this is perfect. This is already grabbing people, with the hype already in their eyes. I'm 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 cautiously excited because as much as I love what the current form of cyberpunk is, uh, I do want them to do this right this time. I want them to take their time, even if it's 10 years in the future. Take your damn time with Orion, because by the code name, code names. I don't know if they mean anything nowadays or not, but Orion, constellation, space. There's a moon
I
hotel
mean,
in
I
cyberpunk.
mean,
You know.
all the code names that were used in this pipeline thing or whatever are all constellations.
The thing is that with Cyberpunk, there's literally that you can make it where you go near that constellation. I don't know. There's more space in there.
But
Witcher,
at
it's
the
like
same time, I'm not gonna read too much into that. Code names usually don't mean anything. I mean, like the goddamn PSVR's code name was Morpheus. You know.
well, people do like their Greek names. You're right. Uh, with this one, man, I'm torn because adore Night City. What does the second game look like? I'm struggling to figure out who do you? I mean, there's a million stories to tell in Night City. That's for sure. The amount of people and things going on is insane, and you can touch any time in history. From the corporate war all the way to V's moment, all the way to the future, to touching on other cities. But it sounds like Night City is a main hub in this world, uh, because I believe from the lore in 2077, in the outskirts, the net has been like completely taken apart. So like it's like completely off the grid. So like Cyberpunk, do you keep focusing on Night City? Do you tell more stories in Night City? Do you develop Night City further and make it where new skyscrapers have been developed? You make certain buildings accessible now. Do you make it where there's new uh, factions? The Voodoo's boys fall because of another faction that took place. I'm just looking forward to see how they develop their world because Night City is already such a fantastic location, and whose shoes are we gonna fill this time around? I'm excited, man.
I I agree. I think there's a lot to that you can still do with Night City.
hmm
Um, and I'm with you. I love Night City. Like Night City is the star of the show for me in that game.
hmm
On top of the writing and the characters, obviously. But yeah,
for
I
sure.
adore just. I mean, you said it earlier before we started the podcast that you just sometimes find yourself just like walking around and looking up. And yeah, I do the same thing. I love how small Night City makes you feel.
For
Um,
sure.
But yeah, I still think there's still this analogy may sound weird, but stick with me. There's still
Okay.
some milk in that cow, right?
Woo! I'm sticking with you, but holy hell.
um, but yeah, there's still a lot you can get from Night City, I think.
Absolutely.
I don't think interiors were used as well as I would have liked for a location like that. I think
I
you can
agree.
still play around a lot with that.
Hmm.
Um, However, we know that there's obviously several other locations mentioned in that game, like a Seattle or I believe Tokyo as well, right?
Yeah,
So like,
yeah. It's one of their headquarters.
right. So like, what does I don't know, like that excites me.
Hmm. Hmm.
CDPR tackling Tokyo in a cyberpunk vein, right? Um,
Yeah, it'd be a corporate beauty because that's where Arasaka would be based in, right?
yeah,
That would look insane. Like imagine, assuming this is after the reign of of Saboru, like what does a Tokyo post, that event look like? What does a Seattle look like? Is it the same? I mean, at this world that you've established that it's pretty much a corporate landscape, and all the corporations have taken hold of pretty much everything. That'd be super interesting. And also, I mentioned space. I mean, literally, there's space that because they do have things going on the moon. Like, do you also make that where you're able to go there not as a hub, but as a mission, and you can actually explore the hotel or whatever, like make the places that you talked about in Night City accessible for sure. That'd be interesting. But also, don't stress yourself too thin because if you want to develop Night City more, do you develop these other places as much? How big do you make the game? I do think that Night City has a lot of fat you can cut from it. There are sections that you can just leave out where you don't have to access them. Like there's a large portion to Pacifica that necessarily has a lot of stuff going on. It's just like a big silo, big warehouses. There's not really a lot going on. But there's a lot that could do. I'm excited, man. And like, do you bring back people like because there's a lot of implications in the ending. A lot of people are not around Night City. Some of the people that you meet are not around Night City by the end. I'm not gonna say who, but do you bring those people back? Do you make certain people ascend in their positions and now they're in charge of their designated factions? There's a lot that can go on. Do you bring another legend to take in Smasher's place? There's so much. Oh man, Cyberpunk is such a great. I love that world so much. I don't want to live in it, never in my life, but I do want to play in it a lot.
yeah, yeah. I'm curious to see in what direction. I mean, Phantom Liberty surprised me already with the direction that they're taking that. So yeah, I'm doubly interested to see how they tackle a sequel. Um,
Yeah.
because I like I said, I probably should have expected it because the game did sell 20 million copies, but at the same
Hmm.
time, it's just like narratively, I'm stumped, man. Like I don't know what they can do. It's not an easy thing where like
It's not.
I don't know, where after you finish Uncharted 1, you're like, or God of War, you're like, oh yeah, there's definitely gonna be, there's so many questions that have been left unanswered. There's obviously going to be a sequel, right? Or with
Hmm.
Horizon, after I finished that game, I was like, okay, yeah, that was teed up for a sequel, an eventual sequel, right?
Hmm.
Cyberpunk 2077 ended in a way for me where I was like, if this was just a standalone one-off thing for CDPR, I totally get it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
It's. I really believe it's because like you and I, we think Night City is the star of the show, and I think by the end of Cyberpunk, you realize this is just one story that ended. There's so many more, and because there's so much to explore, you can't really pinpoint it. Because yeah, there's a sequel, but whose sequel? Is it a sequel? I don't think it's a sequel. I think it's Night City's sequel, maybe, but it's not gonna be V sequel because V very very much the whatever ending you got, it's concluded. V story is done. They're
or it
done
could
whatever
be,
they're
or
doing.
it could be a sequel in in the vein of Red Dead, where it's called Red
Mm,
Dead Redemption 2, but it's technically a
a
prequel.
prequel during the
Maybe it's
corporate
something like
war or
that.
something, and like, because a big thing about cyberpunk is two things: uh, the construct, the living construct. That plays a huge part in the game, in the story. You know, the shard and the fact that there's a conscious in the chip, and the fact that you're V, and V specifically is what they call a cyberpunk. You know, a merc, a person that wants to become a legend in Night City. Do you make a cyberpunk where you're not a person that wants to become a legend and you play solely as a corporate person, or you play solely as a faction leader, or you play solely as, you know, who is going to be the protagonist of that cyberpunk is the big
See,
question.
but they wouldn't do that because that would take away some of the levity or the player choice. Where,
Hmm.
where in the beginning of 2077 you get to choose like your background,
Yeah,
even though it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things,
right. For
which I
some
do hope that
dialogue.
they Yeah, which I do hope that they change in the sequel. But yeah,
Hmm.
I don't think they would do that because I think they would let the player. I mean, to your point, I think they would give you a list of options of like where do you
Hmm.
want to start, right? And then go from there. But yeah,
That make it matter. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
regardless, I am very interested to see what happens there.
Yes, sir.
And then lastly, CEPR is also working on a new IP, codenamed Hadar. Um, this project has not even started development yet, so so
There's a
there's
whiteboard
that.
somewhere with some names.
Right, basically. So I think, I mean, what's really interesting to me, besides the fact that like I feel like we don't see this kind of transparency from because obviously we know developers are are very secretive, but for
Hmm.
very good reason. I mean, look at what just happened to GTA 6, right?
Yep.
So there's that, but I also think the other interesting thing to me is the fact that CDPR used to be we work on one game at a time, then we go to the next franchise, 5 years between between games, right?
Hmm.
Um, but now I feel like their games may be a little bit more frequent than we think, just because it's not just CDPR working on these games. They have the Molasses Flood. Now they also have another studio in Boston. Now they also have an unknown third-party studio working on a standalone side project in the Witcher universe as well, right?
Hmm.
So there's all these different there's multiple studios working underneath the CDPR banner, it feels like,
Yeah.
working on both Cyberpunk and working on Witcher all at the same time. So like I don't know. It almost feels like CDPR is growing to a point where they are. I don't know. I don't know if it's slowly or quickly becoming a major publisher. It almost feels like that. Where they can release. They're not going to be like a Bethesda or an Activision where they're releasing, like 2 to 3 games per year. But I don't know. It just feels like I don't know. There's a lot happening and they're growing, and the fact that they have studio like they've purchased studios or
Hmm.
acquired studios and they have them under their belt, and they're growing to a point where they can work on Cyberpunk and Witcher at the
And our
same
new IP.
time, and a new IP, right? Is pretty wild.
It is.
So yeah.
They're growing fast.
Um,
They were crawling. Now they're walking. Soon they'll be running. And it's nice, man. It's like it reminds me of how we get to the point where Blue Point now will be making their own games. From remakes to their own games, and it's nice to see studios just grow out of their comfort zone and try new things or do their natural progression, and do that what kids call it these days, organic growth, and just do their thing. I'm wondering, what do you think, in terms of the new IP? What do you think the theme might be? Witcher's fantasy, Cyberpunk is
uh,
sci-fi. What do you think they might do?
you you can't really guess. They didn't give us
Yeah.
anything on that,
Yeah. What
so.
would you like them to tackle? Do you think they have a strength in a certain category?
Um, I mean, they're giving me. it's tough because they're giving me everything that I want. I love the cyberpunk genre, and I also love The Witcher, so I'm covered there. Give me a pirate game. I would love a pirate game. I would
There you
love to
go.
see their take on pirates. So
There you go. Black Sails. You heard it, CD.
yeah. So and also just really quick, that new IP is doubly interesting because for the
Hmm.
first time they're not working off of someone's IP. You know,
Yeah.
The Witcher started with books, so that's a well-established IP, and then Cyberpunk 2077 is a tabletop RPG,
Hmm.
um, which is again another established IP. So for the first time, this is going to be something that is wholly their own.
Hmm.
Um, so it's going to be. I wonder how that's going to go for them because for the first time, they don't have a foundation, right?
A
They
foundation.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, they have to do everything themselves now. So the question I wanted to ask you at the start of this
Mm.
conversation was, how do you feel about a company announcing it feels like their slate for the next two generations almost. um, it's one thing for Marvel, I know that excites a lot of people, and it makes sense for them.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know if I should be. I mean, obviously, there's things in here that's exciting, right?
Yeah.
It's cool that there's a brand new Witcher trilogy coming out. I didn't think we would get a Cyberpunk sequel. It's
Hmm.
cool that there is one in development. At the same time, I feel like this kind of spoils that eventual surprise.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's also a point to be made that is CDPR not, are they not learning from their mistakes in the past because they announced Cyberpunk 2077, remember, all the way back in 2012, right?
Hmm.
And then we didn't get that game until 8 years later. So is there a little bit of like them not learning from their mistakes, announcing all these games? I mean, hell, there's one game that's not even in development yet, and they have technically announced it, right?
Hmm.
It's the same thing of like we gave Todd Howard, God Howard, all this shit for announcing Fallout 5. You remember that? When he was like, "We're working on Starfield now. After Starfield is Elder Scrolls 6, and then Fallout 5."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Dude, stop!"
Bro, slow
Like,
down.
yeah, yeah. So like, I don't know. I feel like since I feel like there's a little bit of shit to be levied towards CDPR for kind of doing the same thing here, but at a
Hmm.
much worse degree. I feel like. So how do you feel about that? Like, are you okay with this level of transparency, or would you have liked all this stuff to be a little bit more secretive so it could keep the surprise? Or yeah, how do you feel about all this?
If I'm gonna talk about first, I'm gonna talk about how it makes me feel, and then what it means to like for the general public. For me, transparency. I'm all about transparency. These announcements, they just give me more food for thought. They don't really do anything in terms of hype or expectations. I'm not one for
Right.
expectations. So for me, this doesn't really ruin the surprise or anything. Because I was surprised with just seeing Cyberpunk Orion. I was like, oh, so I just got the excitement. Now I'll just be doubly excited when I see it because it's true. Maybe hopefully it doesn't get canceled or something. Now, when it comes to the general public, you're gonna listen to people that would have preferred this game to not just Cyberpunk, but all of these announcements to be under the wraps and just go one by one as they start. From the one that's the more sooner one to release to the latest one. Uh, when it comes to CDPR, I don't know if this is them riding the wave of hype or riding the wave of expectations. It's a dangerous thing to do. It's a double-edged sword, my guy, because this just means that you have to deliver. You have to deliver on that quality. You have to
Yeah.
deliver on these games. Be if you're gonna be this transparent now, be transparent the whole way through. You've already opened Pandora's box. Don't back out now. Don't go silent the next 2 years. You need to keep us updated now because people are gonna start expecting things. And with the breach of trust that you did with CP 2077, uh, you need to be careful because I don't know if this is them wanting people to not forget about them, if then not becoming a non-memorable studio, and make sure that people are there and they're within their grasp, and we have the fans by the you know by the keister. Uh, Listen, I just if you're gonna do this, do it the whole way through. Don't back out now, because unlike Bethesda, CDPR did it once. Bethesda has done it quite a few times in terms of expectations and letting people down, and the quality of their games. Bethesda has done everything, uh, but for the CDPR, I get worried because there's a possibility of the same thing repeating and the same shitstorm happening if they don't play their cards right. Uh, I worry for them. I shouldn't because they're a company, but I worry for their reputation because this is a lot of transparency. And to your point, Cyberpunk was announced 8 years before it was released, and it was given about two different demos from the final that were very different from its final version, and there was a trailer, a CG trailer that showcased a woman with mantis blades in a whole dramatic situation that had nothing to do with the
Right.
game.
Right.
So be careful with how you play your cards. I think they're at the perfect spot to gain the the audience's trust again, because as much as they gain the cyberpunk community's trust a little bit more, but I don't know if people are as excited or as sold on the other projects. Again, gamers have a short attention span, so maybe by the time that these games come out, they do all fantastic. But it's the PR that needs to worry. They need to worry about how transparent are they going to be from here on out. I don't, because these are how many games sold? This is like 5 games.
I I want to say like six,
That's 6 games.
maybe.
Listen, that's a lot. No wonder they're branching out. No wonder they're gonna have a brand new, what is it, Boston studio?
Yeah.
Um, take your time. These games, I would argue that they are on the same situation that Bethesda is, that they take time because their games are ambitious in terms of storytelling and scope. Uh, so take your time and don't half-ass it, because the quality is there. Just refine it and keep working on it and keep straightening it. Don't cut corners, because then you'll end with a Valhalla or an Origins or an Odyssey, and then you'll get an Assassin's Creed game that's not an Assassin's Creed game. And if we get a Cyberpunk game or a Switcher game that's lesser than the ones you've already done, unless it's stated, this is not a big game like the one we did previously. You have to disclose that. Is it what type of, with Ubisoft, we got Assassin's Creed Mirage, they stated it's not a full-fledged game. It was supposed to be an expansion that they made a game. It was going to be like 50, $60. So it's not a full-fledged game. Their next big game is Codename Red. Um, just if you're being transparent, be transparent the whole way through. Don't back out after you're halfway there, because that's going to backfire. We've already seen it 2 years ago.
Yeah. So that is CDPR's future for the probably next 10 years, man. So
That's a
we're
lot.
gonna
That's a
we're
lot for
gonna
10 years, though. Six
we're gonna
games.
we're gonna wait.
That's
We're gonna have to wait a while, man. So
Oh man, a game
that's
every
that.
2 years.
No, every three. Well, just for The Witcher, every after the first game, every 3 years is how they plan to finish off that trilogy. The rest of the games, we don't know when to expect them. So,
That's tough.
um, yeah. So yeah, that's that for CPR. Let us move to, I guess, the big PlayStation topic, which was Horizon Zero Dawn. Um,
Mm.
so I didn't share this in the chat with you guys because I didn't know if you guys wanted to look at this.
Hmm.
Um, or I don't know how you guys feel about leaks or whatever, but there's this leaked SIE document that finally went out. Or people originally found out that Horizon Zero Dawn was getting a quote unquote remake slash remaster through this document being leaked. Um, a ton of the quote unquote insiders had gotten to see this document beforehand, and they corroborated the original report that leaked that Horizon was getting a remaster slash remake or whatever. They
Mm-hmm.
corroborated that report and said that yeah, that is true, in fact. And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually the entire document came out, which showed off a bunch of SIE projects that are in the works. Um, People took that document to think that that was PlayStation's entire slate of games, and no, that was mainly with their like European partners and their X and what XDev is working on. So like that only represents a fraction of the games that SIE is working on. Um, in that document, a bunch of Horizon stuff was in there. Obviously, Forbidden West was there. Forbidden West on PS5, PC, most notably. So obviously, Forbidden West is going to be on PC at some point,
Right.
um, as well as Horizon Forbidden West's DLC, which we already got an inkling of that happening thanks to Lance Reddick leaking it himself.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, he was not supposed to tweet out the thing that he tweeted out, but
He
so yeah, we
pulled a
know
Tom
that
Holland.
DLC. Yeah, so we know some DLC is coming out for that. The other big thing, which we've kind of heard rumblings about this for some time, was Horizon Online, which we think, or at least we hope, is a Monster Hunter kind of thing with Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's all it said was just Horizon Online on the document for PS5 and PC. Um,
Interesting. Codename Horizon Online.
and then the other thing, um, which is the topic, document said Horizon Remaster, which I think is important to distinguish. It did not say Horizon Remake, because we all know that's ridiculous if they were to do that. The
That'd be
document said
absurd.
Horizon Remaster. If a lot more people did not just jump at the gun, um, when they initially saw a remake from all those different reports,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually went to read this document and see that it's just a remaster, then I think we'd be fine. But of course, that didn't happen. But yeah, it's just a remaster. It's fine. I don't care. you know, like it's not a big deal. If it was, even if it was a remake, I'd be like, I probably won't play this thing. But fine. There's obviously tons of people who have never played this game, so sure, go ahead, go wild. It's not for me. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
But to see all these reports of people saying like I don't know, like people are are like in the streets like crying like on their knees like oh god please don't say it's true. What's happening at PlayStation? What are they doing? It's Jim Ryan again. He strikes again, you know,
Like a villain.
right? Um
That's crazy.
like even like again, like even if this was a remake, like
Mm-hmm.
guys, it people are acting like this is the only thing that PlayStation does now. Like it's mutually exclusive. Like it's exclusively what they do now, as
It
if they
happened
just
once,
like
it's gonna happen always, apparently.
right as if everything that was leaked on that document just wasn't true or wasn't there. Like as if all of the new IPs that were on that document weren't there, right? As
Right.
if they just cherry picked the Horizon remaster and ignored everything else on that document, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If like if the Horizon remaster was the only thing that they were working on, sure, I'd be upset too. But no, like I just I'm a little bit shocked that people took that and are running away with it as if it's this major deal and as if it's the only thing that PlayStation is working on.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it isn't, but I don't know. It's whatever. How do you feel about the whole Horizon remaster slash remake situation? And yeah, how do you feel about it?
I was confused because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Why that?
me too. Me
Why
too.
that? Because I mean, we've here in the DualShock and Sense, we're very much aware of so many IPs that have been lost to history. I guess the PlayStation just forgot that certain games exist. Um, things like Jack and Daxter, things like Sly Cooper.
Yeah,
They,
I would love Infamous series remaster or something
Bro,
like that.
what happened with Cole, man? Where's the Cole remaster, my guy? Come on.
Here's the thing. You asked why. It's
What?
the same thing with The Last of Us Part One. You know, they have a TV show coming up pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect the same thing for God of War. I would expect the same thing for Ghost of Tsushima. They want those things to look, I guess, as pretty as possible for when those things come out, and then so people can experience them in the best way possible. Even though
Mm-hmm.
I would argue Horizon already looks pretty damn incredible.
It looks
Um,
incredible. I don't know why.
yeah,
That's the thing. It's. I get the reasoning. What I
right, right.
don't get, it's the product, because the product looks good. Maybe it just doesn't look good by PlayStation standards. But what are those standards at this point? Uh, we
Yeah.
go to the same conversation of Days Gone. Did it perform good critically, or do they look for good, critically acclaimed games, or do they look for financially good games? Like, they don't have like a clear uh, answer.
Oh,
Uh,
I think it's both.
it's
And
both.
even the writer on Days Gone said it himself that
They
things
look
like
for both.
Metacritic, no, things like Metacritic, things like Game Awards and shit like that, it means something to Sony. They have a reputation, that they put out quality, and if you fall underneath that quality, they're gonna look at you a little weird. I mean, look at Media Molecule. Like,
Hmm.
people complain about them all the time and say that they don't make games that they specifically like, but Dreams has, like, I think a 90 on Metacritic, or
Right.
like an 88.9 or 88 or something like that.
Hmm.
And it's like, hey, you guys make great games quality wise. They may not sell, the millions and millions of copies that the Horizons, the Spider-Mans, the Uncharteds, the God of Wars, or the Ghost of Tsushimas do,
Yeah.
but you guys uphold our reputation that we are the house of quality games, right? So you're gonna stay here, and you have free reign to do whatever you want.
Hmm.
Days Gone, however, no. so,
Stays here.
so right. So yeah,
So so
yeah.
so is the pattern going to be, Days Gone show announced? So should our mind go, okay, then there's going to be a Days Gone remake or remaster in the next few months? So is this just going to be the pattern? Are we going to see a Ghost of Tsushima remaster? You know, it, how what constitutes a remaster at this point, and what constitutes, because this just sounds like just do a patch upgrade, unless you're really reworking it. But why would you rework Horizon Zero Dawn? You know?
I think for Tsushima, I mean, it's tough to tell, but I mean, they just did the director's cut, so I would say no, that they wouldn't do it for
But
that, but
would they
who knows?
though? Oh.
Yeah, but who knows? Who knows? I
Death
I would
Stranding?
if they did one for Tsushima, I would be like, okay, now y'all
This
are
game's
taking a
stupid.
piss. Now y'all just yanking my chain here. Like, um, that's a little ridiculous. But
Yeah.
Horizon, they said, or at least the report was that they're reworking characters, they're introducing new animations, they're introducing a whole suite of accessibility options, um,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like, because with Last of Us, like, if you play that game on PS3, like, people need to keep in mind that, like, the game looks good during its pre-rendered cutscenes. Like,
Yeah.
when you're seeing those cutscenes, those are pre-rendered. Those things are not in real time.
Hmm.
Obviously, in Naughty Dog's later games, like, those cutscenes are in real time. So that's why they still, like, that's why those games still look good even when you're in gameplay, and even when you move from gameplay into cutscenes, and from cutscenes back into gameplay. Whereas in
Hmm.
Last of Us, that's why the game looks noticeably on the PS3. That's why that game looks noticeably different when you move from gameplay to cutscene. It's like you're playing like a different game almost.
Absolutely.
Um,
It's like you go
but with
from Naughty Dog to Minecraft. Like, it's not that drastic, but it's like you
yeah, it's not,
feel
it's
it.
not
You feel the
right.
difference.
Right. And but then with Last of Us Part 1, you know, you don't see that much of a drastic change. Like I believe the cutscenes are now in real time in part one, so the cutscenes look just, or the
That's crazy.
gameplay looks just as good as it does, as you know, when you're moving from gameplay to cutscenes, they look
Yeah.
on par with each other now. But with Zero Dawn, you don't have that issue because it's not a PS3 game, right?
Right.
So I think that's why I personally think that this is just a remaster, because again, that you don't have that problem with Last of Us. Um, but again, like, how much better can you make it look? Zero Dawn already looks, by today's standards, that game still looks incredible.
It does.
Um, so
It.
yeah,
I just hope that then, if this is gonna be the trend, keep that same energy. Sly show, bring me that Sly remaster. Ratchet and Clank show, don't remaster Rift Apart, but bring the old ones. Up your arsenal. Bring all those. Uh, if you're doing a God of War show, then bring me a collection of the God of War games. Like, just keep the same energy then, and do everything.
my my thing is that, like, and I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter too, is like
Hmm.
the memes of like PlayStation only cares about, it's either Horizon, God of War, Last of Us slash Uncharted, Ratchet and Clank, and then it's like all the other franchises that they don't care about. It's like Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, Parappa the Rapper, Legend of Dragoon, right? Like all these other IP,
Hmm.
and Infamous, right? All these other IPs that they haven't touched in years, right?
Right.
And I'm like, my thing is that, like, yes, I would love remasters of those old games or remakes or new installments in those franchises, whatever. But the problem is that y'all motherfuckers didn't buy those games.
Hmm.
That's why they don't exist today. Nobody bought Sly 4. Well, also Sly 4 is not a good Sly game, but nobody bought
Just a
nobody
slight
bought Sly
shade while I'm
4.
talking.
Exactly, exactly. Macho's not here, so I'm gonna let it
Ah.
fly. I'm firing at the hip, man. Uh, but yeah, nobody bought Sly 4, so Sony saw that and said, "Oh, y'all didn't buy Sly 4? Then why would we continue this franchise, right?"
Right.
Same thing with I don't know. You can pick and choose whatever franchise that doesn't
Hmm.
exist today. If it
Hmm.
don't, I mean, you said this a while back with Nintendo. If it don't make money, it don't make
They don't
sense.
care.
They don't do
Yeah,
it.
it
They
don't
don't
make money.
care.
It don't make sense. And it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, but that's the company way, I guess. Because at the end, people forget this ain't your mom, this ain't your dad. It's a company, boy. There's a multi-million-dollar company. They're making money, and and again, because people like to nowadays compare, how Nintendo is all about, the money, and PlayStation, they only know how to make third-person cinematic experiences, and that Xbox is, they're about the player. Well, my guy, they don't need to worry about profit. They have like 100 avenues where they get revenue. Like, they're free game to do whatever they want, and they can experiment, and they won't lose money. Like, they have revenue. The thing is that PlayStation ain't as big as Microsoft.
And I
Sony is
think that's
not
why,
you know involved
yeah,
as much.
and I think that's why you're seeing, um, like them doubling down on these franchises. You're
Yeah,
seeing
because they do well.
IP. You're seeing IP expansion through multimedia, through spin-offs, or at least that's what I'm thinking that they're going to move into the future with all their games. I mean, we can go back to Horizon, right? They're going to give you, the main Horizon titles with Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. But here's a VR game. Here's an online Horizon game. Here's a Horizon TV show. Here's all these comics, right?
Hmm.
Here's the y'all weirdos want some Funko Pops of Horizon characters. Y'all got that too.
Oh
Um,
God.
with Last of Us, right? Here's
Uh
Last
huh.
of Us, the original game and part two. Now here's Last of Us part one. Here's Last of Us Factions. Here's the Last of Us HBO show, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think that's the direction that they're gonna move in with all their major IPs. I'm gonna go back to the cow analogy, right? Getting as much milk out of those
Oh
cows as they
man,
possibly can.
my man thirsty
Um,
today.
but that doesn't mean that they're, how do I say this? Like creatively like bankrupt or whatever,
Bankrupt. There you go.
or
Yeah,
that
that's the.
they or that they only care about, those certain types of games or whatever, because they're still going to do weird shit. They're still going to do new IPs. I mean, on that, I don't know if you looked at that leaked document where we first learned about the Horizon Online and the Horizon Remaster, but there was two new survival horror games on there,
Hmm.
new IPs from brand new studios. Um,
Hmm.
right? And then I mean, we just got Rise of the Ronin revealed to us, what, 2 weeks ago or whatever, right? That's a
Yeah.
brand new Sony affiliated game as well, and then that's not to mention the new IP that Naughty Dog is probably working on with Neil, the new IP that Corey is working on, right?
Yeah. I mean, that state
Housemark
of
is,
play alone, it did so much. You know, it brought so much. And
but
Housemark.
just PlayStation Studios alone, right? We know
Hmm.
that London Studios working on a brand new IP. We know Housemark has confirmed that they're working on a new IP, right? Pixelopus that they're working on a brand new IP with Sony Pictures as well, right? So like again, that goes back to our original conversation about the Horizon remasters. That like yes, some of these decisions are weird, but let's not act like this is the only thing that they're doing. They have their hand in like multiple pies right now. They're doing a
Hmm.
lot, so yeah, let's not act that this is that part one and the Horizon remaster is like their plan going forward. They're it's like how do I say this? They're doing that in addition to all of these other things, right? They also
Right.
have VR that they're doing as well, right? Like
Hmm.
I don't know, and their efforts in the mobile and PC, right? So like I don't know. I just find it ridiculous when people harp on Last of Us Part One or the Horizon remaster, and they take those two things as indicative of the entire Sony Interactive Entertainment slate. When in reality, it's like, and this goes to the whole showcase thing. Is like, we have no idea what's happening with their future slate of games, which is kind of exciting. Um, but yeah, it just feels like there's way more happening behind the scenes than just these two games. And again, I guess that goes to the whole communication thing that you and Macho talk about.
Hmm.
Um, I think people are really antsy because they don't know what's happening with them,
They don't
right?
talk.
So they see the Horizon remaster and they see The Last of Us Part One, and of course they're gonna get a little antsy. They're gonna get a little frustrated with seeing that because we don't know the slate.
Hmm.
But I'm just saying, once they actually do finally start to talk, once they do have this eventual showcase, which I don't think is going to happen this year, but once they do have one, I think people will start to calm down a little bit. But
You know why I'm
yeah,
not as antsy? Because I've
because
been a
God of War
Nintendo
comes out
fan.
next month.
Because I've been oh well, that one, but I've been a Nintendo fan my whole life. I know how this feels. I know,
Uh,
I know what it feels like to not, for your parents not to talk to you and neglect you, and mom, can you play with me? No, son, you're not worthy. Become a doctor or something. It's
oh man.
that's what it's like to be a Nintendo fan. So it's the same now with Sony. Sony don't talk. And people keep saying, "Oh, Jim Bryan's sleeping." My guy, he's not the one that makes the meetings. It's a whole team. Y'all act like Phil Spencer's the one saying, "Oh, I want to talk today." No, there's a whole team of communications that are like, "Hey, you should make a statement." Like, this isn't they wake up, let me tweet about it. Like, do you think every tweet that we see from every executive, it was just them waking up and saying, "I feel like choosing violence today"? No, no. Sometimes they slip. Like Jimbo. Talking about pets, dogs, and cats like they're people. During sometimes you got those slips, but my guy, no, it's plus God of War's coming out next year. Don't pretend like y'all are not excited for God of War. Come on, come on, come on now.
So
In the words of Jappy, come on now.
yeah, they have they're fine. It's obviously the remasters is weird. I don't
Hmm.
need to play it
Me
because I
neither. What
played
the
Zero
hell?
Dawn not too long ago.
Just
But at
play Forbidden West.
the same time, it's like if it doesn't interest you, then it doesn't interest you.
That's crazy.
And that's
Wait,
and that should be that. You don't need to go on Twitter and be like, "Oh, this is
Warrior.
the end of Sony." you know, like I cannot tell you how much I've seen that this past week, and I'm just like, I want to claw my eyes out, dude.
It's it's always see I always see the I see that purple notification up top when I'm scrolling, and I see that plus 500 people listening, and then I see the title, is Sony dying, and I'm like, what? What is going on?
Like
What did
what
Sony
happened
do?
now?
What happened now? I want to laugh a bit. Listen, I'm doing some chores. I want to get some entertainment out of this. Uh,
Yeah.
no, man. We listen. I'm just flattered that so many people worry about Sony. Hey,
No, it's something that we call fake concern, to be honest.
fake outrage. Nah, what is that?
But yeah, so that's the Horizon remastered stuff. Um, I guess this kind of ties into a little bit of Herman Holst. Speaking of communication, he did a bunch of interviews this past week. Um, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but I cherry picked some of the highlights. I guess one of the main things that he talked about was their PC strategy.
Hmm.
Um, he laid out basically what he expects to be the plan, essentially, um, for their major first-party studios games.
Hmm.
You can expect at least 1 year between the console launch and the PC launch. So again, meaning it could be a year, but that's like at least. So it could be more than a year. But generally, that's what you should expect between the console and PC launch for their first-party games. So
Right.
I would expect the Forbidden West PC version to be out, sometime in like spring of 2023.
Okay.
That's the cadence that we should probably expect these things. And then for their live service games, launching between PS5 and PC, that's going to be day and date, which makes sense because you want a live service game to have as big of an audience as you could possibly get on day one, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know about you, but I think that's a pretty sound strategy.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's played the cards right, and not much we can. I mean, we can only see the results later on, but hindsight's 2020, so we'll see.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I think it's a pretty makes sense, and I think it's pretty much what a lot of people have been saying anyway. Um. And then the other thing that he said that I
Hmm.
thought was pretty interesting was he talked about acquisitions. He
Mm.
talked about studios that they acquire studios that fit the PlayStation Studios sort of mantra like a glove. And then he also said that they are not in the business of taking teams out of the market, which was the big
Hmm.
quote that everyone has been talking about. Um, and I
Hmm.
I agree with what he's saying because this is kind of what I was saying about Bethesda way back when they got acquired and when we were kind of just starting our podcast.
Right.
I don't like, and this I really don't understand how people equate this to Final Fantasy or Spider-Man for God's sake. But the idea of like, okay, I played Wolfenstein 1 and 2 on my PlayStation because that's the only console that I have. Now I'm not allowed to play Wolfenstein 3 because I do not have the right console. Or
Hmm.
if Prey was to ever get, or Dishonored, if Dishonored was ever to get Dishonored 3, which is not going to happen because I think they're done with that franchise, but if Dishonored 3 was to ever to happen, I am no longer allowed to play that game despite enjoying the previous two entries on PlayStation. The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, you can go down the line of Bethesda titles. Like, in my opinion, I think it's wrong to, if you have enjoyed a and this goes for any platform who does this.
Hmm.
If you have enjoyed a franchise on one platform and now that franchise is taken away from a platform that you've previously played those games on and you
Yeah.
are no longer allowed to enjoy those games, I don't think that's right.
Hmm.
Like let's take something like a Resident Evil for example.
Right.
I've always played Resident Evil on PlayStation. If I woke up tomorrow and Capcom was acquired and I am no longer able to play Resident Evil, the following Resident Evil games on PlayStation, I would be like, that's fucked up, right?
Absolutely.
Um, I mean, you can if this was, I mean, to Xbox fans, like, I'm trying to think like what's a big multi-platform franchise. Um, Give me one. What's a
Or
big
multi-platform,
multi-platform?
like
Yeah,
just anything. I mean, like something like a
yeah,
Persona or something, or
or
like a
like
Final
GTA,
Fantasy.
like
Okay.
GTA.
Okay.
If PlayStation wants to acquire Take Two
That's
and they
tough.
made that exclusive,
That's tough.
and they're like, you know what? Yes, we know Xbox fans, you have played GTA 4 and 5 on and San Andreas and Vice City on your Xbox. We know you guys have enjoyed those games on your Xbox. You are no longer able to enjoy or GTA 6 is not coming to Xbox. Just straight up. So this
Mm,
franchise that you have enjoyed on your platform for years, going forward, you will no longer be able to enjoy that franchise on your platform for the foreseeable
oh,
future or whatever,
oh, we got a
because
franchise, Crash Bandicoot, Call of Duty.
but like so because we have now taken off that team like off the market or whatever. Like
Hmm.
I would say that's fucked up to those players who have enjoyed GTA on Xbox for years,
Yeah,
right?
hundred
And
percent.
so with Bethesda, like to me, like even though I'm not the biggest fan of their games, or BGS specifically, but like I do love Arcane and I do love Machine Games.
Hmm.
It is pretty cool as well. Like it sucks that I can't play those games anymore on PlayStation because it's the only console I can't afford all consoles, right? It's the only one that I
Yeah.
have. So yeah, that sucks that I can't play those games anymore. Um, so what Herman is saying here that we're not in the business of taking teams off the market. If you look at their acquisitions or the teams that they partner with, like let's go down the line. Haven Studio. That's a team that has not released a game yet.
Hmm.
So if you want to bring up the whole organic growth conversation thing, it is literally a studio that PlayStation has been there since their inception, pretty much. And they have like nurtured and incubated this team, and now they've acquired them before they've even released the game. So the argument that PlayStation takes away games from other platforms, they're
From
gatekeeping
competitors.
or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? That does not apply to Haven Studio because they've literally have not released a game yet, and they've been like nurturing this studio since the inception. You can
Right.
say the same thing applies for Deviation Games, right? They have not put out a game yet. They were just established, but PlayStation has been partnered with them literally since their creation. You can say the same thing with Firewalk Studios, right?
Yeah.
Very much the same thing there. Kojima Productions, their very first. I mean, Sony, Sony gave them literally the engine that Death Stranding was built off of, right?
Right.
I mean, Sony was involved with Kojima Productions literally since that studio's incubation or creation, right? Goddamn, Mark Cerny took Hideo Kojima on a tour of all the PlayStation studios to choose what engine he wanted to use, right?
Right.
Um, I mean, you can go and then if you want to go down to like teams like Bluepoint and Housemarque teams who have primarily been PlayStation developers anyway, you're not taking away anything by acquiring those teams. It's the same thing with why no one had a problem with Xbox acquiring a team like the Forza developers, right?
Hmm.
Or acquiring the State of Decay developers because they already sort of made Xbox exclusives anyway. So you're not taking away anything from PlayStation by acquiring those teams, right?
Right.
My problem and what I'm a little bit nervous of becoming a presidents in the future is this idea of taking away teams who used to make games on all platforms and making those exclusive. Like I don't know. I think especially publishers,
Right.
I think it's a little fucked up. Um so yeah. That was very long-winded sort of response to Herman Hulst's
Ah.
answer.
Sorry. Yeah.
But
No, you put it perfectly. I couldn't have said it better myself. Just It context matters. The reason. By the way, uh, we got a cockroach in the chat by the name of the Macho, uh, and this man said, someone say Final. No one talking about Final Fantasy here. This is DualShock and Sense. This is in the Final Fantasy podcast. Okay. Also, this puzzle. Hey man, don't make fun of me. This puzzle. It's annoying. But I agree with you, so it's more on the context and the reasons why these studios are being acquired, and when it does get messed up when it's like a Bethesda situation where it's like, oh, you're not gonna be able to like play a Bethesda game anymore in a certain console, or like that's why a lot of people maybe they get heated or too passionate, for lack of a better term, when talking about Call of Duty and where it's headed in terms of exclusivity, and that's why the whole ordeal with the contract and the how many years it was for Call of Duty to remain multiplayer or whatever. I don't know, man. People get passionate over games, man. It's beautiful. It's
And let me be clear. The idea of Sony acquiring a Square Enix or possibly a Capcom, I don't want that to happen
me neither.
because that
No, no,
means
no.
that literally means,
Less games.
and I think it's weird that people champion acquisitions in the first place, but
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. That means that, okay, not Xbox players and Nintendo Switch players, you won't Switch, especially you saw all those games that Square Enix was presenting at the Direct. The possibility of those games no longer being, on Switch, that players on Switch and Xbox have come to expect to be on their platform, or they have been playing on their platform for years.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden that being ripped away from you, that
Yeah.
sucks. That
It does.
sucks, man. Right?
100%.
I would, if that were to ever happen with Persona or with The Witcher,
Hell nah.
put me in a fucking coffin and send me on my way.
Put me
You
down.
know?
Put
Yeah.
put me
So
down. I'll I will give you a musket, and we'll
look,
do this old style.
I much prefer Sony's approach of going after a Haven Studios, or in that leaked document that showed the Horizon remaster.
Right.
We saw that they are making an exclusive first party game with a team called Ballistic Moon, which is a brand new studio comprised of Supermassive. I think they're called Supermassive, the Until Dawn devs.
Yeah,
Um,
supermassive. Yeah.
right. Comprised of some of the people from Supermassive. That's a brand new studio who has not released the game. I much prefer those partnerships. There's Wildflower Interactive, which is the team that Bruce Straley from Naughty Dog is like the studio head or whatever, right? There's a team like that, or That's No Moon, that new Santa Monica team, right?
Yeah.
I much prefer partnerships with studios who are just starting. Again, like a Kojima Productions as well, back in 2015 or 2016. I much prefer those types of partnerships rather than buying up well-established studios who
Yeah.
have.
Multiplat. Yeah.
Right, right.
It's like
So that's all I'm saying.
Macho says they'd be livid if Imagine Persona 6 is a PlayStation exclusive after they do this whole, Persona 5 on all consoles thing. Like, it's tricky because then you have those moments that are very like weird, because then you'd assume no, P6 is going to be a time exclusive, but is it true? Is it not? And it just goes into this whole thing of timed exclusivity and true exclusivity and contracts and people not having the full picture and what it means and who the studio is. That's why these conversations are a lot more nuanced than people think. It's not just a my company good, your company bad type deal. Which it shouldn't be your company. It's not my company. It's not anyone's company. It's a company that has a product that you appreciate and you play on your off time because this world is stressful. That's the reason why we play these games and we love these games so much. They're great stories. It's art. This is art. It's not surprising that art could be so controversial. But yeah, man, it's a great conversation that we can make every other podcast about this, and we'll always have something to talk about. But let's keep that acquisition talk on the lower key, yo. It's a let's not take sides. And humanity is too tribalistic, and they just love taking sides. I guess that's why this conversation is so passionate on social media, and people keep taking sides. Because taking sides, I guess, it's just it's fun for people. Well, it's not fun for me, that's for sure. Um, Go watch the sports games, take sides there.
So yeah, that's that about the Herman Hulst stuff. He also said a couple other notable things about PlayStation First Party, their live service slash mobile PC initiative, and all that good stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, good to see him out there doing these interviews.
Doing that work.
Let's move into Hideo Kojima.
Ooh.
He's at no, I don't think he's at PAX in
Mm.
Australia, but his team is over there, and they are continuing to tease some things from their next project. Um, I mean, we finally got confirmation that Elle Fanning
Fanning.
is going to be
Hmm.
the lead in his next game.
Hmm.
But there is another character who is being teased right now.
Hmm.
People are trying to figure out who it is. Um, but yeah, so I don't know if you've really kept up with much of this marketing that he's doing right now.
The "where am
Um,
I" or "who am I" thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
seen it.
So
It's very.
yeah,
He's always very mysterious with these things until it comes out. He's very artsy that way.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's Death Stranding too. Um,
Interesting, really.
because did you see the red version of the picture with Elle Fanning?
I haven't. No. What did it unveil?
Well, the version that like it clearly shows her face. You haven't seen
Oh,
that picture?
yeah, the one with her face. Yeah, but is there a different one that I'm not seeing?
Well, I think it's that one that reveals her face, but isn't it all red, right?
Maybe. Man, I didn't catch the color. I know it's her face, and I think she shared it on Twitter, and that's where I saw it. But I didn't think about it much. Did it show? Does red have a significance? Uh,
Well, I'm just saying red because that's like the how you can like I don't know identify it I guess
right,
how you
right.
know which one I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
like that specific red one, I mean you can clearly see like strands in that image. I
Oh,
mean, if you look at that image and tell me that those aren't the same strands that are used in the Death Stranding logo,
let me
you
look
know?
it up then. Yeah.
Um, I mean that's immediately what I thought when I saw that image. But then the second thing was that there was a Kojima Productions producer who she tweeted out that specific image, and she said like, "Who am I?" or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I forgot what else. I think she said like "Who am I?" and then like "I'm so excited" or something like that, and then
Right.
hashtag Death Stranding, hashtag something else she
Oh
put on
boy.
there. Yeah, so she kind of let it slip that it's Death Stranding,
Okay. Could it be a
and then
DLC?
deleted, and then she deleted that tweet.
Interesting. So could it be like a spin-off or like an actual sequel?
I mean, I think it's a sequel.
Interesting. I haven't beaten Death Stranding. Does it leave room for a sequel?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
Um, that's why I think it's. I mean, that's why I think Elle Fanning is the lead because it's probably gonna be just like
Different
a
protagonist.
new a new set of characters. It's
Hmm.
set in a different country, possibly. Who knows?
Mm.
We also know that I mean, Kojima was on that leaked document as well. Project codenamed Ocean.
Right.
Ocean is very Death Stranding. Um, so yeah, I think it's Death Stranding, but I don't know where this project is development wise. Who knows? But I don't know. And I could be wrong. I mean, Death Strand there's without a shadow of a doubt there's Kojima X Sony game like in the works,
Hmm.
but the question is, does that game come after the thing that he's doing with Xbox, or does it come before the thing he's doing with Xbox?
Hmm.
That we don't know where those things line up, right? Um, so yeah, I'm not too sure about that specifically, but purely going off that image and seeing the strands there, I'm thinking that this game is Death Stranding related. So that's my 2 cents.
No, it makes. I mean, Death Stranding. I haven't beaten it, but what I have played of it is it's a Kojima ass game. It's it's very weird. Very could say convoluted. Bless you. Could be convoluted. It could be uh deep. I don't know if it's a different IP. For sure, expect something completely left field and something completely Kojima. Elle Fanning. I do appreciate that when he announces a game, he does talk about like a lot of the performance or the actor itself. I know he's a big movie buff, which why it's like a lot of his games are so cinematically so like ambitious and so
Yeah,
insane.
that's why for Captain Marvel and Morbius, he just typed, "I saw Captain Marvel," or "I saw Morbius."
Oh man, yeah, the man. If your movie gets I watched it from Kojima. It
You know you fucked up.
you know you
It's
messed
time.
up.
It's time to pack up your bags and probably leave the industry. That's the most embarrassing thing, man. If I ever, or actually no, I will be in the game industry one day, and if that ever happened to me, if he was like, "I played blah blah blah," and that's all that he wrote, I
I'm
would
done.
have to quit my job. Yeah.
I'm done. I'm my resignation later. I'm putting my 2 week in. uh, Especially because Kojima, I haven't talked with the man. I haven't listened to his podcast. I don't know if it's out yet. Uh, all I know is that he's very. I mean, for Edge Runners, he was very. He made a whole like 2 tweets about it, a big paragraph, talking about it, and he'll, in very not broken English, he will describe it the best way he can, and well, the man knows his stuff. I mean, he's an artist for sure. Uh, I'm looking forward to it. Man, I enjoyed Death Stranding. I played it for PS4 and then I want to play the PS5 version, but I kind of want to restart it. I want to start from the beginning because I forgot completely what was happening. I have no idea what's going on. I forgot how to play the game. I I picked up my controller and I started playing. And first things first, everything fell apart. All my stuff fell. I'm like, wait, how do you play this? How do you keep your balance? Uh, but yeah, man, I'm looking forward, man. Elle Fanning, what has she done? Do
I don't know.
you don't know? Is she like recognized? I don't know. She looks cool. She looks like a movie actor. She looks like a movie actor.
But yeah, regardless, very excited to see what he is working on.
100%, man.
It always, I don't know, I wasn't entrenched in like gaming as I am now.
Hmm.
When he was doing the whole Metal Gear Solid stuff or MGS5 stuff specifically. So
Yeah.
like I remember that stuff vaguely, but like I wasn't, like entrenched in the gaming industry as I am now. So like obviously like I didn't know like what the fuck he was doing back then. But
Yeah.
now like being a part of this marketing cycle specifically, it's like ooh, like now like, I don't know, it feels different being a part of this than the MGS5 one for me at least, cuz like now it's like I actually know like what the fuck is like kind of happening
Right.
like or that this is just Kojima, so yeah.
Truly is Kojima.
Regardless, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, and also, and like, I don't know how you feel, but
What?
I don't know, cause he's saying on Twitter that he's editing. He keeps saying that he's editing. You would have to imagine a trailer. Um, but my mind is like he's editing. It's October, and I think he posted that he was editing also in like September as well. So like that's like 2 months out from the VGAs. Like I would be like, would he have a trailer done and ready 2 months before VGAs? So my question is that like, yeah, is that a possibility, or would he have a trailer done and ready for 1 month in advance for a PlayStation showcase? See, this is me trying to put doubt in my own, like, I don't think there's gonna be a showcase this year. Which with each passing day, I think that reality is becoming more and more true.
Okay.
But seeing Kojima doing all this shit is like, I don't know. It's making me, I don't know. Like, how do you feel? Do you think this is gonna be a VGA thing or not?
Hey man, maybe Keely and Kojima got something cooking. I don't know, man. Uh, I don't know. He keeps talking about editing. I mean, is it even like? What if it's just a poster? I don't know. I'm editing this
Maybe.
poster, man. It's a cinematic masterpiece. Uh, I really don't know what to make of him, man. The man is already mysterious enough. Maybe it's just an ad for his podcast. You know, maybe it has nothing to do
Uh,
with a video game. Because let's face it, he's if Twitter has anything to go about, he's a lot more than video games. So could literally be anything else. Maybe he's doing another promo, another plug. Kind of like how he did the podcast. He's like, "Hey man, this is my new single, Kojima Blues or something." And he's editing his new CD. I don't know. Maybe Kojima's gonna sing. He's gonna go ham on us. I don't know, man. When's VGA?
December.
Uh, uh, he's going overtime. Maybe he's not the one editing. Maybe it's the team and him. Uh, we'll see. Keely, you got to look at Keely's Twitter too and see if you can cross reference. It's like a detective table. You gotta put Keely's tweets on one side and Kojima's on the other, and just cross reference. See who's doing what. I really cannot make heads or tails of this because the man is too cryptic on Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you? You said you. I mean, you put doubt in your mind, but what do you want to happen
Um, what do you mean?
in terms of what he's doing? Do you want him to like surprise us with something, or are you just like, what's Kojima up to? Like this man's doing just anything.
Hey, he can do whatever he wants.
The man's a free man.
I'm just along for the show or along for the
Yeah,
ride.
he's along for the
Um,
ride with
yeah,
good old Koji.
yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, that is Hideo Kojima. Very interested to see because we didn't get between the who am I and the where am I. There
yeah.
wasn't too much space between those. Like we got our answers pretty quickly. I feel like within maybe a week or 2 weeks of each other. So
I think that was just for L to announce like L as the lead.
right, because he initially posted the who am I, and
Yeah,
then we got our answer at the where am I, which was PAX just now.
yeah. And now we're gonna
So
get what is I or something. What is this
so so I'm expecting the third piece because the third piece is another who am I think, um,
in the game?
which is the second character.
Mm.
I'm expecting that to be, I mean, just like the first one, probably within a week or 2 weeks of uh, what yesterday, I guess.
You know
Um,
what this is gonna be in VGA? World
what?
premiere. We're gonna get a world premiere from Kojima. It's gonna be Elle Fanning, and we're either gonna get a teaser or literally the poster, but with narration. Like we're gonna get just someone like I never knew they would come for me. Then I had to body them. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do for VGA. I hope we, in classic Keeley style, we get some, four Elden Ring level announcements. Maybe this is one of them. I don't know.
Oh man,
Oh man,
maybe.
that's crazy.
But yeah. So last topic, God of War Ragnarok has
Amen.
officially gone gold,
Plus,
ahead of its November 9th release. Um, Really, the only notable thing just wanted to bring up was I thought it was really cool that they included the support teams
hmm
on the graphic. Really cool to see Blue Point Games was involved in support as well as Valkyrie and PlayStation Creative Arts as well. So yeah, really cool. I don't think I've ever seen a studio do that before with their going gold graphic. So this was really really cool to see all those teams included.
100%, man. I'm super excited. I'm glad it went gold. So that the doubt is not no longer there. This game is definitely gonna come out when it's gonna come out. Um, I'm excited, man. I love seeing all the devs just they look like a weight has been lifted from their shoulders, and like they're truly ready to see this baby fly. That's crazy, though. It's crazy that Ragnarok a few years ago was literally just a thought,
Yeah.
like in our minds, and now like we're just weeks from playing it. That's crazy, though. We're gonna be able to eat the moon and the sun and whatever the hell you do in Norse mythology. Why does everyone in mythologies just eat planets or mess up with mortals? Like, y'all have enough power. Focus on your own shit. Um,
Yeah.
man,
It
it's exciting.
is. It is. It's almost there, man. It's.
It's almost, yeah,
I'd imagine that codes are going to be. Now that it's gold, yeah, I would imagine some codes are going to be going out
yes,
fairly
sir.
soon. So yeah, very exciting times. We're about to get into review season, or
Oof.
fall is starting. Games are dropping pretty soon here. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun time, man. This month and next month for sure.
Amen.
Um,
I'm
so yeah,
excited, man.
that is that's gonna do it for the DualShock and Sense crew, episode 78.
Oof.
Um, want to thank everyone for tuning in, whether it is live or after the fact. We always appreciate it. And
Macho,
yeah,
get the hell out of here, Macho.
we're gonna get started with some outros and get everyone out of here. So, Walt, what you got going on this week?
This week I'm gonna be diving more into Night City and get borged up for my fight with Smasher eventually. Cannot wait to get that machine a piece of my mind. He's gonna hear the last of it. This guy stinks. I'm gonna. uh, I'm gonna be. Uh, I want to watch a movie this next week. I don't know what's out. I want to watch Smile. I hear it's a good horror movie. Um, I want to watch everything. I just want to watch movies this next week. I haven't. Oh, quick thing. Did you see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes got announced? Uh,
Yeah, I don't know how I
yeah,
feel
I don't
about
know how wars end. So once I finish War of the Planet of the Apes, I'll know. I'll know how to feel about that. So I might do that
yeah.
this week. Actually, I might finish the trilogy because I still need to watch that one. Um, I'll be playing more Overwatch 2. I'm back at it with I got a group of friends that we've been hitting it up ever since it's been playable, and so since yesterday, since the servers actually let up after the DDoS attack. Uh, I'll be playing more games, man. A game that
Yeah,
I've been playing on
don't
my.
play that game. Don't play that game with a prepaid phone, man.
Hey, man. If you're poor, don't play Overwatch, I guess.
Oh man.
I'll be playing. I've
It's
been playing Chrono Trigger.
well, they
What?
say it's like a line and going into the club and there's like a bouncer in front of the door and he's like let me see your wallet. Let me see how much money you got in there. You open
It-
out your wallet and there's just like dust comes out. He's like, oh, you're not allowed to play.
you're not allowed to play this free to play game. No, it's crazy.
Exactly.
It'd be like, how tough are you? It's just how poor are you instead of how
Yeah.
tough are you. Yeah, man.
Yep.
What about you, man? What you got planned?
Just probably gonna finish off Mad Men and Destiny 2. Really, that's about
Ooh,
it.
how far
That's
are
about
you?
it
Like,
for me.
what's their light level? What's going on?
I think I'm like rank 43
Okay, okay.
on the season, and then like my light is like 1553, something like that.
Ooh, yeah. That
Um,
game been grinding away, huh?
I mean, honestly, not even. I wouldn't even use the word grinding. Like I'm just
Interesting.
playing naturally. Like
Regressing.
I'll just hop into some Gambit matches, and then I mostly just spend my time in Crucible having a blast. So,
Okay, so they've made it very
um,
accessible for like just catching up pretty quickly. That's good. That's good.
yeah, like I haven't felt the need to get any like microtransactions or anything like that. Like I'm just playing the game naturally and I'm having a blast. So
That's what's up, man.
yeah, which is always the worry with these kinds of games is that you feel pressured to want to spend money.
Yeah.
But I haven't felt that at all. So yeah, it's great.
Hell yeah, man. Let me know. We can
Yeah,
hit up some matches.
for sure. So yeah, that's it for me. And yeah, that's it for the podcast this week. We will catch you guys next week. Talking about the latest and greatest in the industry. Until then, peace out.